Kia ora koutou. I've got 23 minutes left on here because I was just like, push record. Obviously got to delete some TikTok stuff on my phone. I do this one because on TikTok I get an average of like 200 views, which is not much, but still much better than this. But you can get more in detail because you don't have a 1 minute limit. But Knowthyself1388 means it's not that I know myself, but I know myself a lot better than what I used to, just based upon how I responded to different situations in my life, the way how I perceived things, and the way how I had these questions that are wondering why things were working out, and I got some more information, applied it just because I liked it, and started seeing results. Obviously I got a lot more results to go and see, because in the physical reality I'm just a normal average guy. So like, even though I might be having these dreams and visions and stuff, what I don't tell you guys about, it still hasn't manifested. So in physical reality I'm just a guy who works at works a job, your average job, and lives your average life. Just is currently single and doesn't have a partner, but whatever. There's this lady who seems to be showing me interest, but one, I got goals in mind, and two, it's in the workplace, so that makes things a bit risky. She's attractive though, and she seems like a feminine woman. So that's good. See how that goes. Know Thyself 1388. 1388 is in reference to the 13th of March 1988. One of the very few things that's good that happens in that family, that group of origin that I come from. Because even though they're blood, it's like they tell you how much they love you and all this type of stuff, and then blame you for things and all this, and then the next time you'll see them is like 3 or 4 years later, and they might hang out with you a couple of times, and then the third time they'll open up and realize, oh, actually, I've got all this stuff, all these requirements that I want you to fulfill. But now they do that on the first time. Like, I remember not seeing one of my cousins for 3 years, and I used to go visit him like about 3 times a year, and this went for like 7 years, and he never came visited me. And he had a daughter, but the first 3 or 4 years was the first 3 or 4 years there wasn't. So I didn't understand why I just come visit once. But anyway, I hadn't seen him for 3 years, and the first time I saw him in 3 years was about while I had moved back at home at that stage. I had moved back to the jail cell that had a bed and stuff and that in it. The jail cell being that place where, because the physical stuff stopped when I was like 15, because it wasn't working anymore, so that stopped, and then it turned into the verbal stayed right the way through, and it was like just sabotaging career stuff. So I used to think, how when you're young you think all this stuff. Now, I never used to go around. For my age, I wasn't very braggadocious for a teenager, but in comparison to how I am now, I really was. And I thought, no, this is who I am. This is how I've been raised, so therefore it's who I am. But 1388 was my birthday, 13th of March 1988. Yes, so that's very interesting, because a lot of the answers, a lot of the stuff, my answers that I thought were just life stuff, weren't in the Bible, but I just thought maybe God didn't put them in there because maybe they're such common sense. But then I found out that all these answers were actually in, like, the stuff that I thought was in the Havamol and Children of Odin and the Poetic Edda, and that's a form of worldwide knowledge that's manifests itself in cultures and societies throughout worldwide. That's one manifestation of it, which is the Germanic tribes. Like sometimes you're waiting in line or something, and I used to go because I visited all the regions, and there's 2 islands in New Zealand, and I've visited all the regions in one of them, but I've only lived in 3, and I'm in this 3rd one for only 1 month now. Often people use, like, if you're waiting in line, and you might not be talking for that reason. Maybe you might be, but say I'm in a situation I'm not talking, I'm just thinking about something, and waiting in line, and no one knows me because I don't live in that region, and all this type of stuff. And I've had people ask me if I was German or other things like that, and it's quite interesting because my heritage is English, Scottish, and Māori, and there's other stuff too. But I just go back to my great grandparents and I have a look at their 8 last names, and I have a look at what they look like in the photos, and I just go by that. Because if you go back further enough, you'll just find that the whole humanity, you know what I mean? But at the same time, it's like, it's good to be, it is good to be connected, but we also have to have like something that makes us unique. So that's why I did that, because then we can say, oh yeah, I'm on this branch of the human family tree. Same tree though. So the Germans went and took over the then English at the time, who then became the modern day Scottish and Irish. Well, but at the same time, a lot of Englishmen look exactly like Scottish and Irish, but that's because maybe their ancestors went back in, maybe they stayed there. But I've had some people say that, and I just found that it's very interesting that the other half of my questions that I never ever found in the Bible were answered, and like my logical reasoning, I thought it was just so common sense, like maybe there's no need for it. Maybe the creator never needed to put it in the Bible because it's just common sense. And I found out that it was written in ancient sacred texts, but it's in the Norse mythology ones. I even like when it comes to the Morrigan. She looks scary. Well, the thing is, she looks scary by modern day interpretation, but back in those times, that was their version of a beautiful woman. Pale white skin, dark black eyes with long dark hair, and she was known as goddess of destiny. Those who are thoughtful to others and helpful for others. Whenever they're in a physical danger or anything like that, she will protect them. If they ever ended up going to the battlefield, she would side with them to give them favor, because the other guys aren't like that. They're the opposite. And so for those people who are like that, they believe that she would favor the other ones. And so that's why there's a fierce side as well, like, of her. And so she's from Celtic mythology. But yeah, a lot of those are long black hair, pale white skin, and then you see people like Ozzy Osbourne and stuff like that, and you go, hang on, they look identical to each other as far as racial thing, It's because they are. And then you have the ones who are, obviously I'm a mix, but more like me, who looks, according to what some people say, I look a bit more Germanic, but what does that mean? Because just waiting in line in different regions, like they've said, and they're not talking, and you're just waiting, and they're like, So are you from like uh, are you from Holland or Germany, or did your ancestors come here earlier on? And I'm like, and I open my mouth and talk to them, and sometimes I have a laugh when I talk to them in Maori. I just go, oh, even just to break the ice, or they'll be doing this, and I'll be like, they'll be asking that, oh, so like you come from Germany or Holland, or are you or did your ancestors come here when I was earlier, later, like because. The most recent European civilization started being built here 180 years ago. Yeah, there's been many people. The human race has been around the world multiple times, so we need to um, get over that. Really, everyone needs to. Um, then I'll just go. Oh, tēnā koe. E tino pai o pātai o nō reira ka whāngai au i a Aotearoa me tipu ake au i a Tamaki Makaurau i te tau te kaumawha I haere au ki te mātou a Maui. And then I'll pause and they'll be like, what? Like they know I'm speaking the language of the Maoris who were the residents here in New Zealand, the only people here when the British came and made a contract with them. And then I'll say it in English. I'll say, oh, thank you for showing your interesting question. But no, I was born and raised in New Zealand. I was born in Auckland, and at the age of 14, I moved to Hawke's Bay. And then they'll be like, what? Then I'll say my last name's Mohi, which is a Māori name, but, and then we'll just have a laugh. I'm just trying to get the information. I heard someone come in, so when people are here, I find it more, I might do writing and stuff like that, but talking on the phone for me sometimes makes me feel weird when people are physically here. Like, oh, people if you're milling around town and a bunch of people you don't know and you're about your business, then yeah, different story. But know thyself. Well, I've been through a lot of stuff in the 20s, and I just found like I bumped into a video of myself about 9 years ago where I felt like I was singing a song about me feeling that I was an idiot and why is things not going for me, but we have to fight for the rights of others, and I feel like an alien and stuff. And that was 9 years ago, and I thought it was a real spiritual thing, but now it's like, wake up. Like, the truest form of love is to not fight for others' needs, but to teach them how to fight for themselves. Because one thing that the SJWs have got wrong is they think that they have to stand up and fight for all these other minorities and these other groups because they can't do it for themselves. So for the benefit of humanity, these white people who are SJWs have to do that for them, which is a lot of good thinking, but at the same time is that narrative that they must rely on us, which is not, that's the area where it skews from true love. I never believed in that at all, and I had an aggro period when I was younger. Well, when I say younger, I mean like 4 years ago. I was involved in that movement for 1 year, but I never did anything. I just went to meetings, and I didn't even realize they were up to anything, but it wasn't for me. Left, and yeah. Hello. So